Hey, what's up? Welcome to DGenEd. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts like the chart behind me, which is of Canopy Growth Corporation, ticker symbol CGC. And I will also be going over Kronos Group, ticker symbol CRON, as well as Sundial or SNDL, ticker symbol SNDL, as well as the popular one, TLRY Brands, ticker symbol TLRY. And so I'm just going to go through these in alphabetical order based on their ticker, and have to note at the start of this video, all of these are up massively. So because of that, there's potentially a lot of risk. So do be careful with these. I do think that there could be a lot of upside still, as there does seem to be a lot of momentum with these right now, but it could also turn around. So do be careful. And I will be trying to highlight levels to the upside, as well as right around where current price is, as well as to the downside if in case they do turn around. So they might be some good levels to keep in mind. And so to start with CGC, they went up massively, up over 68% on Friday, March 22nd, closing on the day at a price of $7.69. So pretty crazy. And so one thing that I do see that stands out with CGC is this top over here that was at a price of $8.35. So I do think we could be forming a double top, bumping into that. But if there is momentum moving into Monday and we are opening above 835, as well as especially closing above 835, that could be the new support, perhaps forming a bull flag before moving higher. But if we do open above and close below, that could be marking the top, forming a double top over here, and price could be pulling back to right around $6 a share. I do have this line drawn at $5.99, which was the high hit on December 13th. There is a gap there, so I do think that we do need to see some consolidation in that area, really, before getting a healthy move to the upside. And so while 68% in one day is great, I do think it might pull back a little bit before continuing higher. And I should note that from the bottom down here to the closing price, that's a more than 176% move. So it is pretty risky at this point. If you are up more than 100%, it might be a good idea to trim maybe half of your position, so then you're just playing with house money and you can hold it, forget about it. There's no risk of losing money at that point. So something to consider, but I also do think that there is potential for continuation to the upside. I do have this downtrend that if price hit that, over the next couple weeks, that would be going up to a price of around $18 a share. So that is pretty crazy. And so I did draw that downtrend based on these two pivot points that you can see here. One being the low hit around July 2022, as well as the high hit in September of 2023. So that's how I get that downtrend. Do think it's pretty interesting. Served as support here. It does look like we formed this head and shoulders pattern before breaking lower. And so I do think that neckline that we broke could be, which I guess is approximate, because this armpit didn't really hit that line, but I do think that trend line could be significant resistance, and going up to it would be right around a price of $18. So from current price, or from $8 a share, that represents an upside move of around 120%. So definitely a lot of upside, but it could be pulling back to one of these levels to the downside, like $6 a share. Perhaps that's a good level to buy the dip on. If you missed this, maybe that's a good level to enter at. But, moving on to Kronos Group, ticker symbol CRON. This is not one that I have covered, so I don't have much marked on the chart. But what I do find pretty interesting about this, we are approaching, this double top level here at a price of $2.64, having closed on Friday at a price of $2.61, being up 9% on the day, just over 9%. This moved a little bit more moderately on Friday, than, compared to CGC, but it is lower than this high. So I do think it could be, actually, well, the high was $2.64. So that could be a double top, and it could be pulling back, but it could be finding support around this level at 257. We did close above that on Friday. So I do think, that could be acting as support. And that, if we do take a step back, is based on the low that was hit over here. Let's see. That was on June 14th of 2022. Hitting the low there does look like that acted as a little bit of support here, almost getting down to that level. And then over here forming a bear flag with that level acting as resistance, then getting a test of it over here acting as resistance. Hopefully we can consolidate above it before moving higher, but if we can't, I could see price pulling back to right around $2.25, kind of just based on the high over here. Did get a number of tests of that level leading up to the break, and then also, got a test of it over here, getting a wick above, but could not close above 225. And then here we did get kind of this breakout hitting 264, but then pulling back. So I do think price could be returning to right around 225, maybe consolidating before moving higher. But if we are to consolidate above 257, form a bull flag and move higher, the next level up that I see that really stands out is probably $3.59, so about a dollar move to the upside, and that is based on pivot highs over here. It does look like it had acted as resistance, so I suspect it will act as resistance again. And if we are to, be breaking higher than 257, it may not be a clean shot to 359, because if I do throw up the volume profile, because of all this consolidation that we've seen over here, we might be bumping our heads right around $3 or $3.10, as we do see this volume shelf in that area actually coming down to a price of right around $2.85. So perhaps that is something to keep in mind. But, I definitely could see this moving a lot higher, but I could also see it pulling back before it does that. So good to keep in mind. And then now moving on to SNDL, I did cover this during the earnings call and was curious to see this bearish engulfing candle. I was expecting price to be moving a lot lower, but we did not see that. We actually saw this bearish engulfing candle, but we did not confirm closing below the low of that day, and then got this massive move up. So pretty tough to see this big move coming, but it does look like we did form, bullish consolidation here, a bull flag. This bearish engulfing candle was a fake out before we got this massive breakout, going up over 20%, just over 21% on the day, closing at a price of $1.75 on Friday, while hitting a high of $1.77. I do think it is reassuring that price for this one is above the line here that I see as acting as resistance, hopefully now acting as support at $1.71. And that is based on this previous high here. So if we are able to consolidate above that, I do think we could be making much bigger moves to the upside. But if we can't hold that and we do break to the upside, but if we can't hold that and we do break lower, I do think this downtrending level could be acting as support, and that might be returning to a price of, really ranging from around $1.50 or $1.49, marked by this yellow line, going up to around $1.60. So that is something to keep in mind. But if we are to consolidate here, form a bull flag, and move higher, I do have this line drawn up here right around $2, and that corresponds with the high that was hit on May 22nd of 2023. And so that did act as resistance then. It may be acting as resistance again. So I would look for a move to right around $2 a share, but I think we will be bumping our heads around that level, so do keep that in mind. But if we are able to break through it, we could be retesting the highs here. That was at a price of $2.36. So definitely still some upside with this one, but also some risk to the downside, like a pullback to 150 or 160. And then finally, I'm going to get on to TLRY now, ticker symbol TLRY. And so we did break out of what looks like this parallel channel that I have drawn. So I do think that is looking pretty good. We have not yet gotten to this previous high that we hit. That would be at a price of $2.54, still being lower than that, having closed on Friday at a price of $2.31, being up just over 18% on the day, and getting a little bit of a pullback, a 1.3% pullback in the after hours, as well as having this wick with a high on the day of $2.37. So it is quite possible we could be seeing a pullback into Monday, but that could just be a little bit of a spring before a launch to the next level at 254. But if we do see a pullback, I could see us returning to right around $2 here with the high at $2.04. That could be a great level to add at if this is to continue higher following a little retracement like that. And if we are to reclaim 254, consolidate there, the next level up for us to move higher to would be right around $3.36. That is really based on the highs over here as well as some highs here, has acted as resistance a number of times. I suspect it will act as resistance again. But given that we will be crossing over $3 a share to get to that level, I could see $3 acting as resistance as well, that just being a psychological level. But we don't really see too much of a volume shelf around $3. It just seems to be fairly consistent. So if we can get above 250, hold that as support, we do have a shelf there. That could potentially result in the formation of a bull flag before we do continue higher to above $3 a share and to tackle $3.36. But yeah, those are just my thoughts. If you found them helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments down below, and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thanks a lot for watching.